Paimon is the most mysterious character in Genshin Impact. Despite her knowledge of the world, nobody knows who or what she is, including the Abyss sibling. But despite her obscurity, Paimon's true identity may have been revealed a long time ago. In this video, I'll analyze all the little tidbits we know about our floating fairy and speculate on her true identity. For simplicity's sake, I'll also refer to Aether as the Traveler and Lumine as the Abyss sibling. Without further ado, who, or what, is Paimon? Aether fished Paimon up 2 months before the game started. According to Paimon, she was traveling while tired and got caught in a strange whirlpool that sucked her out to sea. Paimon has knowledge of the nations and nature of Tnbee, and uses it to guide Aether to each region and give a rundown of each archon. But despite her seemingly normal backstory, Paimon has many oddities. In addition to being able to fly, Paimon can appear and disappear at will. She is immune to the Abyss. Her outfit has celestial design elements. She wears a crown, her outfit has an upside-down triquetra, and she shoots out constellations wherever she goes. Paimon's name also belongs to that of a demon king from the Lesser Key of Solomon, which is where Hoyoverse gets the names for their gods. King Paimon is a demon most obedient to Lucifer, the morning star, whom Aether is likely referencing. It's said that King Paimon possessed knowledge of the world and its affairs, as well as water and wind. He could also remain underwater indefinitely and make things appear and disappear at a whim. Keep this in mind because it will become more relevant later. But what I really want to focus on is her cape. A cape that depicts 3 moons with stars orbiting them, a detail that grows more significant when we look back at Tnbee's ancient history. Legend has it that in ancient times, the moon in the sky was different. In fact, it wasn't 1 moon but 3 moon sisters, Arya, Sonnet, and Canon. The 3 moon sisters, sovereigns of the night sky, were some of the oldest entities in Tnbee, alongside the first Seelie. The sisters would patrol the heavens in their silver carriage, while admiring the morning stars, and shared sovereignty by switching positions once every 30 days. It was fated that if the sisters did not switch positions when it was time, a disaster would occur, which may be what caused their demise. One day, the second who came descended, bringing with them destruction, overturning rivers, and spreading plagues. During the war, the Moon Sisters' palace was hit, and they turned on each other, eventually leading to their deaths. The moon we see in the sky now is a mere corpse of one of the sisters, shedding its pale, ethereal light. But that's not entirely true. Although there's only 1 visible moon in Tnbee's sky, 2 other moons differentiate from it. One is in the loading screen, and one is in the spiral abyss. This shows that, although the 3 moons are no longer in Tnbee's sky, 3 still exist. My point is that Paimon's cape depicts the 3 original moons in the same sky. The triquetra seen on Paimon's chest is also used to represent a trinity like the Moon Sisters. This suggests that Paimon is related to the moons, or that she's been around since before the sky was changed. Either way, it's highly suspicious. And remember what I said about Paimon having a name from the Lesser Key of Solomon, something exclusive to gods? Paimon goes as far as to call herself the god of protection when Aether questions her knowledge.
Maybe that god has been crying all this time because they were bullied.
Crying? I don't think gods can cry. I mean, I've never seen Venti or Zhongli cry before.
There are exceptions. If you pinch Paimon, you'll be able to see a crying god.
Are you a god?
Paimon sure is. As your bodyguard, Paimon is the god of protection.
Protection is an interesting trait when you remember that the Moon Sisters patrolled the night sky. Not only has Paimon been likened to the moon many times, but she also has pale white skin and light hair, like that of another celestial god, the sustainer of heavenly principles. To be clear, I'm not suggesting that Paimon is the sustainer, but they do have visual similarities I'd like to point out. Both Paimon and the sustainer have capes with multiple colors at the end. The sustainer even has a triquetra on her cape, similar to the triquetra seen on Paimon's chest, except hers is not flipped. They also both have moon-pale skin and white hair, with multiple connections to stars, just like the Moon Sisters. And if we analyze the Sustainer's appearance, in the opening cutscene, we can notice something very interesting about her portals. When the Sustainer arrives, she makes not one, not two, but 3 portals for entry. One leading portal with 2 lesser portals beside it, almost as if it were for 2 lesser powers that should be with her. 2 lesser powers, like 2 moon sisters who aren't in the position of sovereignty right now, because they have yet to change. 3 moons encased by a star. But notice that the Sustainer's portal is the only one, not tainted with red. Almost as if she's the only moon sister that was not corrupted during the calamity that is said to have killed them all. If you haven't caught on, I am indeed suggesting that the Sustainer is one of the moon sisters. After the calamity, she was the only sister remaining, tasked with patrolling the sky and protecting Teyvat from foreign powers. Well, she would be if it weren't for Paimon. In addition to the information I've already shared, the 3 moon sisters, aria, sonnet, and canon are heavily related to music and poetry. An aria is a lyrical tune that can be hummed by a solo voice. A sonnet is a poem composed of 14 lines, and a canon is the leader of a song that the following melodies attempt to imitate. And the melody hummed by a female voice in the loading screen is literally titled Dream Aria. Taking a step back, let's revisit Paimon's demon inspiration, King Paimon. In some sources, it's believed that before King Paimon was booted out of heaven, he was an angel from a choir of the dominions who were angels that regulated the duties of other angels. In the description of King Paimon from the Pseudemonarchia Daemonum, it said he was among the angels fascinated by Lucifer's music and tried to match the notes of the morning star. After being kicked out of heaven, King Paimon was placed in the musical choir of hell that sings praises to Lucifer. This is relevant to Genshin's Paimon because of just how many times she's been used for music covers. In 4.4, we even received a name card for the Stellar Moments album depicting Paimon surrounded by musical notes. In other words, both Paimon and the Moon Sisters are constantly related to music. Taking this into consideration, paired with the odd similarities between Paimon and the Moon Sisters, you can probably come to a fair conclusion. Paimon is also one of the Moon Sisters, one who is thought to have been lost during the war. But the Moon Sisters aren't just moons, and Paimon plays a much bigger role in fate than most people realize. Please direct your attention to Paimon's bargain shop. There, you can buy materials, including leyline branches, and exchange star glitter, stardust, and primogems to get wishes. All thanks to our trusty traveling companion, Paimon. So why in Teyvat does Paimon have the ability to grant wishes? And why is she collecting primogems and stardust, materials used for creating new destinies when in large enough quantities? And remember how you can buy wishes from Paimon. Well, the fates that she gives you are used for intertwining destinies and connecting dreams. Before you come at me, I know gameplay isn't always a direct translation of lore. That being said, I firmly believe that gameplay features are always hinting at or are related to lore, even if there are subtle differences. So, I strongly doubt that fates only being sold at Paimon's shop was unintentional. Not only is this odd because Paimon shoots out constellations, which are related to people's fates, but her own fate is also seemingly non-existent. Despite being connected to a Rimensel in the leyline system, Mona and a sunchild from Enkanomiya cannot read it, claiming many things are interfering with her fate.
This travel companion of yours, do you know anything of her origins? No matter what, I cannot seem to discern a single shred of information regarding this floating fairy's fate. Oh? So you don't know where she comes from either?
These constant connections to fate are important to Paimon and the other Moon Sisters because of the 3 sisters Hoyoverse likely drew inspiration from when creating the Moon Sisters. Those 3 sisters are none other than the Moirai. In Greek mythology, the Moirai or Fates were 3 sisters, Clatho, Lachesis, and Atropos. They were believed to be the weavers of fate and were worshipped even above the gods, depending on which story you read. Although they all presided over fate, each sister had their own role to play. Clatho, the spinner, was responsible for spinning life's threads, representing the present moment. Lachesis, the apportioner, would determine the destiny and lifespan of the newborn, and she represented the future. And Atropos, the inflexible, would choose how people would die by cutting their life thread that was spun by Clatho. Although the Moirai weaved people's fate, their primary purpose was to ensure that people's lives would go as determined by the universal laws, which take the form of the heavenly principles in Teyvat. This is relevant to Genshin's sister trio, because they were also connected to the world's fate. As previously discussed, it was fated that if the Moon Sisters didn't switch places every 30 days, destruction would befall Teyvat. And if I'm correct when saying that Paimon is a Moon Sister, they may also be able to intertwine fates and create new destinies when given the needed materials. I'd also propose that the three Moon Sisters are three shades of the primordial one, with the sun being the fourth. After all, the shades are officially called the Shining Shades, and King Deshret recounts the sun and three moons being created first, even before gravity. And as exposed by Nubilet's character story, fate is controlled by the present ruler of Teyvat. One as great as he should have no need for a constellation to shine over him. After all, fate is merely the manner in which the present ruler of this world plays with living beings. And who is the current ruler of Teyvat? The heavenly principles, the universal laws that dictate fate. The universal laws in Genshin that are very similar to the universal laws that dictated how the Moire would spin people's fates. And do I really have to continue? The three Moon Sisters are three of the Shining Shades of the primordial one, tasked with controlling fate and guiding people to their predetermined destinies. So, Paimon is one of the three Moon Sisters, which makes her a goddess of fate. And Welkin players have seen her original form every day. For reference, take a look at the unknown figure in the Welkin Moon, who all refer to as the Welkin Lady. Although we have yet to be told who the Welkin Lady is, many have pointed out her similarities to Paimon. Not only do they both have white hair and pale skin with starry imagery, but Paimon has even been depicted with the exact same outline that orbits the Welkin Lady in official art. Furthermore, after the Welkin Lady grants primogems, stars shimmer on the screen, resembling the stars in Paimon's contrail. And although they aren't identical, Paimon and the Welkin Lady both have originally had staffs. Could things be any more obvious? Paimon is one of the Moon Sisters, the goddesses of fate, and initially took the form of the Lady of the Welkin Moon. Although Paimon survived the war against heaven, she was significantly weakened and lost her form, which led to people thinking she died. As a result, she has not switched positions with the Sustainer and is not currently the Sovereign, which is the only reason why Autor's device worked on her. To fix that, she must follow her morning star, Aether, to ascend to Celestia and claim her right to become the Sovereign of the night sky. Only then will a new moon illuminate Teyvat, serving as a guide for fate to those lost in darkness. And that new gentle moon will be none other than Paimon. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like and/or subscribing, and let me know who you think Paimon is. I hope you all have a great rest of your days, evenings, and nights. See you in the Golden Hall.